find your why without forcing it, right? It's
Right,
like,
right.
wow, this is why I'm this way, or this is why things happen and made me who I am, or I'm passionate about this one thing. Like for me, my family, we grew up poor, but we're always giving. My parents are missionaries, and giving is not about what you have; is just
Right.
that this core value.
Before we jump in, a little bit of context. This conversation is with Miri Rodriguez, and it was recorded live inside of one of our classes. Miri Rodriguez is a storytelling leader at Microsoft and the author of Brand Storytelling. And what makes her perspective so powerful and really different is that she treats storytelling with empathy, not as performance. In this session, she really shares what it's like to be launching a book inside the middle of the global pandemic, how she negotiated marketing support with her publisher and her company, and the intense reality of balancing a demanding corporate job while writing a very intense book. We also talk about finding your author voice, uncovering your own origin story, and why every story has a mission, why that's for that mission, why it matters, and ultimately the people that you want to feel it. If you're writing a book and you're trying to communicate something that truly connects, this conversation is full of insights for you.
I know it's been an exciting 2020 for you. And I thought maybe it might be, I was reading as I was preparing for this a little bit about your book adventure here. It had a very interesting wrinkle in it where your book comes out and goes gangbusters
Yeah.
in March 2020. What is
Yeah.
it like to put out a book that congratulations done so well, but ultimately changed a lot of your plans? How has that been for 2020 for you with this book coming out at the time it did?
Yeah, first of all, it wasn't scheduled at that time. It was actually scheduled originally to launch in summer 2019. I had to push it for a personal commitment that I had made at work. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to finish writing. I won't finish on time. And I pushed it once. I tried to push it again, and my publisher was like, no, we're going to cancel your contract. They literally were like, we're going to cancel yours. I was like, so they pushed it to, so I pushed it to December, and we were hoping there's holidays, sales, and all that stuff, and people are excited to buy new things. And then they said, look, we were trying to slate it for December. It's not going to come out. It'll come out March 2020. And I was like, what happens in March? Like nothing happens in March. I'm like, nobody's buying anything in March. There's no holidays. So I was like, I was bummed. And the real lesson I learned here, especially when it comes to writing, it's don't trust the process. It's a very personal process. For me, it was. And at first I was feeling very guilty that I pushed it. I was like, oh man, now I'm gonna have this no date thing happening. And then it comes out in the global pandemic, and it one leans into the book. I was overwhelmed. So I had a 17-week book tour that I had scheduled. I was on my way to, what country was this? I was in San Francisco on my way to, I don't know, some European country. And I paused it because obviously the borders were closing.
Yeah.
So I come back home to Seattle, and I'm like, now what? So I canceled all my 17 cities. And then I find myself literally saying no to all the media outlets that were reaching out to me. I had no time. I hadn't
Yeah.
planned for that. And so
Yeah.
I took a leave. I took a 3-month leave to be able to
Wow.
go to interviews and all the things that were happening, because it just blew up and it was just fantastic. It's always preparedness. I think we prepare for what we don't know. And you're like, why don't I prepare for what I don't know? The writing perspective is it's looking at everything that can happen. A global pandemic, I don't think was in anyone's radar as a thing
No.
that can ever happen.
It's been like 100
Wait,
years. So this was not on schedule.
but from a tactical perspective is my entire tour could be canceled. Like
Right.
that, what if that happens? And so what I had as an alternative was I did talk to my publisher and I did negotiate, which is something that this audience can really is you can negotiate the book publishing, marketing, and PR campaigns. The publisher will probably give you a very minimal, like 1 month or something if they do. I negotiated in my contract. I was like, no, I need more. I need more time. I had a really good agency in New York. And that's really everything, because they really did an incredible, more than I could handle job on getting on the media outlets and selling this in a
Yeah.
time that everybody was scrambling. And they got me on the radar. And I think that was the most important thing. So preparedness in that sense of what could happen. What is the worst thing that can happen? Even if you don't pandemic, the worst thing is my tour gets canceled, which it did.
Yeah.
And so we went, and it was even better.
Sometimes people have this hesitancy to share with their company because your book is not exactly online with your exact sort of message that you have. So how did you like navigate through those pieces?
Okay. All right. So I'll say this to start with. If you work for a brand in general, and then you're stepping out on your own to do your own thing, especially a book, like all of my learning, a lot of it comes from my experience at Microsoft, right? So
Right.
Microsoft is a very big brand. It's a very, obviously a global brand. It's a global program and we do experience, we do operations. It's a cool thing we do, but definitely very much on people's radar, very
Yeah.
public. And so for me, it was important for us to learn the policies and read them on my own. Obviously, every company has their policies. We have a moonlighting policy, so this fell under moonlighting. And there's this balance of what is not said in the policy versus what is said. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna err on the side of what's not being said because
Yeah.
the policy doesn't say it. And even though I was talking a lot about my learnings at Microsoft, it is my learnings. It's my
Right.
content. It's my knowledge. And so I don't have to go check back with CELA or our legal department. They did come at me immediately though. And they were like, hey, we heard you're writing a book because I posted on social media. So I had already armed myself with my answers when they came at me. So I was like, hey, this is all my content. This is nothing Microsoft proprietary. And anything where like a leader would say something, I was sure to quote it and its own. And I basically dressed it up as, hey, this also makes you look really good. I'm
Nice.
giving you a lot of props here. So you're good. And so what was that. In terms of time balance, I did not take the leave to write the book. In fact, I wrote
Right.
the book 8 months. My scheduled for 8 months was this. I woke up at 3:30 every morning. I
Oh
wrote
gosh.
for 2 hours. Yeah. I wrote for 2 hours. I got up, went to work. I was actually going to work physically because I was in Redmond in Seattle. And then I came home around 5:30-ish. I wrote for another 2 hours, went to bed and did it all over again. That was Monday through Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, I wrote for 12 hours, 8 to 8. I do
Wow.
not recommend a schedule for any.
That's-
Please don't do that to yourselves ever. It was terrible. It was
Yeah.
horrible. And I had already pushed my deadline, so I had to commit to that. A lot of them will say take a writing break. I don't. In terms of format, most of my time was spent actually researching. So I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
if you have, yeah. And so what happens is you have an idea about what you're writing, and then you get really deep. It almost kind of has a laugh. Origin story serves you to really identify things that may seem trivial in your own journey that are not, right? And this is where you pick it up and your brain begins to literally, as a computer, as you're literally doing a search, you're doing a
Yeah.
Google, your own brain, and
Yeah.
you're going, tell me where I'm good at this. It starts going, and
Right.
this is how, and this is why, and even moments that led to that made you a creative writer or a visual storyteller or whatever the case may be. So it really gives you but you give yourself that inspiration of who you are and you shut imposter syndrome out a little bit. So
Yeah.
that is the origin story. And I do that from a brand perspective because from that emanates everything else. Whether you're looking to build your personal brand to help people, whether you're looking to do that to write something or even try something new, you will find within yourself. I know it sounds super cliche, but it really is an exercise of finding your origin and it's already like that raw material that's already sitting there. All you have to do is pull it out.
How does that you position that when you're trying to get hired in companies that you want to work at?
This is actually why I took the job so that we don't do that to our students. I actually have, we're changing that scheme. We actually have, we implemented an initiative called Live Your Best Microsoft Life,
Cool.
where we create, so we have different things in terms of storytelling and career building and it's actually lifestyle things that include what do you want it to be? Think about it. You have a platform like Microsoft. Use the platform that is
Right.
Microsoft. It's bring your passions, co-create your experience at Microsoft.
Cool.
And I tell them all the time, we love your code. We also love your heart. So we want to get, and so it's this idea. And this is why, again, for me, it was really important to take this job because I know that I can leave that mark with our next generation. We
Right.
are a legacy company.
You do talk a lot about, in the book here, you talk a lot about this idea of how important it is to be intentional with the design, right? You're it's one of those things that you're not just a natural good storyteller, you pull these pieces for it. How do you, before you sit there and tell a story in a speech or a conversation or even writing, what are the sort of steps that you're taking to pull these pieces together before you actually write?
For sure. If the first thing is definitely the story mission. Every story has a mission. It's
Mhm.
simple. It's you asking yourself, who are you writing this for? Who is your audience? Why you're writing this story? And what is the final thing is how do you want to make them feel? May not remember the entire story. They'll remember how the story made them feel, which is,
Yeah.
we all know very much that is the key. That is what holds the story true. And so when you think about the design of story, I went back and I was into my research. I was invented the hero's journey. To me, storytelling is this place where we design that for ourselves and for our audiences because we know them better. Nobody knows it but us. And so I can't pretend to tell you what story is going to work or what format or structure or even elements. When the brands came to me during the pandemic, which was extremely overwhelming, I had brands large and small.
How do you tell a new author who's starting this thing about to really understand and think and write empathetically?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will say, and it's going to be, I know it's not, that my own process is weird, but if it helps you, I'll share it. It's really, again, bring yourself back to the heart of things. We can start with an ambition and go, I just really want to write a book. That's why I want to do it. Good. That's your truth at the moment. 3 months in, when you're waking up at 3:30 in the morning, not your truth anymore. You're like, hell, I want to quit right now. So
Yeah.
I think the importance there is keeping true to your authenticity. How do we elevate that storytelling technique? How do we, if I use the color and that becomes a symbol to me, every time I see red, I know what it means. I'm training myself and my brain differently in terms of storytelling. So there's a different creative process. So most definitely it's helped me. I've always kept journals and that kind of thing, but it's really in the journey of writing,
Yeah.
the last thing you want to do is write. So
That's true.
just keep a journal of photos and all the
Yeah.
things that help you go back and be like, oh crap, I really did that.